That's right. Sometimes it just makes more sense to rent versus buying. So let me share with you 10 reasons why renting might be the right choice for you. The number one reason why you should consider renting instead of buying: lower upfront cost. This is probably one of the biggest reasons why it makes sense for many people to rent versus buying. Buying a home, no doubt, is one of the biggest purchases we'll make in our lifetime. Not only do many of us need to take on a big mortgage, it requires big upfront cost. If you want to avoid private mortgage insurance, you need at least 20% of the home value as down payment. Then you have the transaction cost, appraisal fee, title fee, application fee, etc. And what if the home is a fixer-upper and not move-in ready? You have big renovation cost, new appliances, new flooring, and a new paint job. And that is if your home only requires surface-level cosmetic updates. Anything more could cost you tens if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. Thus, when you add up everything, the upfront cost to purchase a home can range from minimum tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. Amount that requires a lot of saving and waiting. However, the initial upfront cost to rent is less, much less. Most often, when you choose to rent, the only major upfront cost required is a security deposit equal to 1 month's rent. Maybe slightly more for a high-end property. But once you have that down, that's pretty much it. And with the security deposit, as long as you take care of the property well and don't have major damages, it should be returned to you when you decide to move out. So if you're concerned about the high upfront cost of buying a home, renting might be the right option for you. Number two reason why you should consider renting instead of buying. In the line of cost, lower ongoing cost. When you rent, you don't have to worry about big ongoing expenses like property tax and homeowner insurance that homeowners have to worry about. Property tax varies by state and the county you live in, but these can range from 0.5% to 2% of the property value. Yes, you can move to a state with a lower property tax, but do you know what state is known to have the lowest property tax in the US? According to Rocket Money, Hawaii, with effective property tax rate at 0.32%. But for those of you who ever visited Hawaii know, it also has one of the highest home value in the US. Average homes going for $1 million plus, which kind of negates the benefit of having a low property tax rate. Well, when you rent, you don't have to worry about this at all. Everything is baked into your monthly rent. As long as the monthly rent works for you, the property owner has to deal with the big ongoing costs such as tax. And when it comes to insurance, while the homeowner needs to maintain a homeowner's insurance policy in order to protect their property, you as a renter only needs renter's insurance policy. And renter's insurance, compared to a homeowner insurance, is much cheaper because it only covers the stuff that you own, not the property itself. For example, according to Bankrate, while the average homeowner insurance for a $250,000 dwelling is approximately $1,800 in the US, the average renter's insurance is 1/10 that. Similar to the big upfront cost of buying a house, if you're concerned about ongoing costs of housing, renting is definitely a better option, leaving you more cash in your pocket. Number three reason why you should consider renting versus buying. In some places, especially high cost of living areas, you get more bang for your buck. In high cost of living areas like coastal cities, when you calculate the monthly expense of ownership and compare that to the rent of a similar sized space, it is much higher. For example, near where I live in Orange County, California, on Zillow I was able to find a decent 3-bedroom, 2.5 bathroom, 1,600 square feet condo renting for $3,800 a month. In the same neighborhood, there was a similar place, 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 1,700 square feet on the market for $999,999. Yes, $1 shy of $1 million. Maybe the owner thought 6 digits would attract more potential buyers than a flat $1 million. Regardless, if you were to purchase this $1 million property with an $800,000 mortgage because you put 20% down, with a 30-year fixed 8%, your monthly payment will be close to $6,000. And we're not including property tax, homeowner insurance, and other ongoing costs such as maintenance. With that, you're close to paying 2 times more for the same square footage. Yes, I know, you own the property, so that is fundamentally different. However, the fact is that if you were to go out to the market right now to find a place with 1,600 square feet for your family, especially in a high cost of living area, it is cheaper to rent. You get more bang for your buck. And this is a part where I get a lot of counter arguments. Yes, I know, I see renting is cheaper here, but I don't have any equity. I don't own the property. How can I build wealth? Don't the majority of Americans build wealth by owning versus renting? Yes, it is true that the majority of Americans' wealth by the time they retire is in their property. But most often, this isn't as intentional as it might look. Most often, it was by accident. Forced saving. If you know where to invest and have the discipline to do it, there are other ways to build wealth, which leads to the next reason. Number 4 reason why you should consider renting versus buying. Frees up cash for investment. That money that you save by renting instead of buying, it is now free to be invested in appreciating assets. Yes, owning your home is a way to build some wealth. When you're locked into a 30-year mortgage, you're forced to pay your banker every month because they lent you the money. And this forcing has allowed many Americans to build equity in their home. However, there were costs to paying down that mortgage for the past 30 years. You had to upkeep your property, and you continuously paid high ongoing expenses such as property tax and homeowner insurance, and you didn't have the flexibility to move. And to be frank, owning a home, especially your primary home, shouldn't be your only or the main strategy to building wealth. With more cash freed up from renting versus buying, you can invest more into other assets such as low-cost, broad market index funds, into yourself to build career capital, or even other real estate investments. In the theme of why renting could be better than buying, do you know that there are actually ways you can capitalize on people favoring rent versus buying as an investor? Which is why I'm excited to talk to you about today's video sponsor, Fundrise Flagship Fund. If you watch any of my other videos, you know I highly value investing in real estate in addition to investing in the stock market. This is because real estate provides great long-term earning potential and effective diversification beyond the stock market. And if you've been scratching your head on how to invest in real estate, especially without doing all the headache work of being a landlord, look no further and check out the Fundrise Flagship Fund. The Fundrise Flagship Fund is a well-diversified real estate fund that holds $1+ billion real estate properties, including over 4,700 single-family rentals that they built from ground up to rent. It incorporates Fundrise's most favored real estate investment strategies, all in a single portfolio. The exposure to build for rent is quite exciting given all the benefits to renting that we're discussing in this video. As more and more people are choosing to rent, build for rent, also known as BFR for short, has become one of the fastest growing asset classes in the world. Build for rent refers to the strategy of developing residential communities specifically for the rental market rather than for sale. It's perfect for people who are looking for larger spaces that traditional single-family homes provide but don't want to buy. It provides greater affordability and flexibility, and thus not a surprise that it has been popular, especially in regions such as the Sunbelt cities like Dallas and Atlanta, where many people have been moving to have extra space. And the Fundrise Flagship Fund is designed to take advantage of this trend. As of right now, the Fundrise Flagship Fund holds approximately 4,700 single-family homes across 29 US markets, primarily in the US Sunbelt area, with plans to expand. So if you've been thinking about ways to diversify your wealth beyond stocks and gain greater exposure to real estate, you can check out the Fundrise Flagship Fund. And with a $10 minimum, the Flagship Fund makes it easy for investors of virtually every size to invest in institutional quality real estate at the touch of a button. So make sure to use my special link I'll have in the description below to get started today. Alright, with that said, let's get back to the video. Number 5 reason why you should consider renting versus buying. And this is my personal favorite. Minimal maintenance. I shared with you before in my other videos, but I'm a total buffoon when it comes to home maintenance. I feel I do more harm than good most of the time. For example, a few months ago, we had a water leak in our roof. A water pipe that ran across our bathroom ceiling had a small hole. Me, despite knowing nothing about leaky water pipes and how to fix it, thought I'd be MacGyver and give it a try. Unfortunately, it didn't work out too well. Not only did I not fix the broken pipe, I made the situation worse. The attic floor under the broken pipe had weakened with all the water, and me being the fool that I am, decided to step on it. I almost fell through the ceiling if it wasn't for the 2x4 that saved me. Without that, you might have seen the last of Mr. Financial Tortoise. Thankfully, no one got hurt, but my wife, who happened to be in the bathroom at the time, got a pretty big scare, and she banned me from ever going to the attic again. Now, if we were renting versus owning, I would have never gone up into the attic. I would just call the landlord and tell them that we had a leak, and can you send someone immediately to fix it? And they would need to coordinate everything. However, in this case, we had to do everything. And to be honest, even finding the right handyman is a lot of work. Finding someone who has the right skills, who is reputable, as well as being available, that is a lot to ask for when you have water dripping all over your bathroom floor. But when you rent, you don't have to worry about any of that. You either call, or these days, you just fill out a work order form on your phone, and it's their responsibility now, not yours. Which leads to a next reason. Number 6 reason why you should consider renting versus buying. It saves time. As you saw in my example, when you rent, you don't have to worry about trying to fix something or finding someone reputable to fix it. The landlord is responsible for all of that. Thus, if you're in a high demanding career or have life responsibilities like family, you have more time to focus on those things. Your career, yourself, and spending time with loved ones. You don't have to deal with the stress associated with dealing with a broken pipe or a busted electrical outlet. And let me tell you, getting my feet stuck in the ceiling of my bathroom was stressful. And this also applies to the initial phase when you're looking for a place to live. Buying a property not only requires finding the right place, but lining up the financing and finding contractors if the property requires renovation. So much energy and time goes into buying and getting your property ready for move-in. But when you choose to rent, after a quick credit check and a security deposit, you can move in right away. The landlord is responsible for making sure the property is move-in ready, and you're responsible only for the things that goes in the new place. The number 7 reason why you should consider renting versus buying. Lower overall risk. As I stated earlier, many Americans have much of their wealth in their home by the time they retire because they got in the habit of paying their mortgage every month. Thus, it feels nice to own their property, the feeling that they have equity in something, some money to retire. However, there is risk to this strategy. For one, home values fluctuate constantly. Yeah, it's not as volatile as the stock market, but home values are constantly going up and going down. And many times, this doesn't have anything to do with the property itself. Macro events such as rising interest rate, tough job market, new schools opening up, and new roads being built right next to your house. These all have the ability to both increase and decrease the home value. And if you have the majority of your wealth tied up in your primary residence, your wealth is also at the mercy of these external forces that are completely out of your control. However, when you rent, the home value fluctuations doesn't affect you. It affects the landlord, and they might choose to increase or decrease your rent, but that is about it. If you have your money diversified and invest in many other different assets outside of your primary residence, your risk profile is mitigated. The number 8 reason why you should consider renting versus buying. Flexibility. This is another one of my favorite reasons why renting at times makes more sense than buying. Renting provides the ultimate flexibility. Where to live, what kind of property to live in, and for how long. New events happen constantly in our lives. We get offered a new career opportunity in a new city. We want a bigger place because the family is growing. Or we go through a midlife crisis and we want a change of scenery. Well, if we own our property, it's hard to respond to these events quickly. We have to decide if we're going to sell and buy in a new city. Or if we decide to keep our current property, renting it out. And all these require a tremendous amount of coordination and work, not to mention the added cost. But when you rent, you can just decide to pick up and go. Yes, if you're in the middle of your contract and you're leaving before it ends, you would need to pay a penalty, most often 2 months of rent. But that is surely less than taking a $50,000 loss on your property because you're forced to sell at a down market. Bottom line, one of the biggest benefits to renting versus buying is the flexibility that it provides. So if you see yourself going through a life transition or a major life event in the next couple of years, it might best serve you to rent versus buying. A quick reminder before we move on to the next reason. Make sure to download your free one-page PDF companion guide that goes along with this video. It has everything I'm covering in a simple to digest one-page format. Go to the link I'll have in the description below to download your free copy. Number 9 reason why you should consider renting versus buying. In the theme of flexibility, access to desirable neighborhoods. Let's say you want to live in a specific neighborhood because it has great schools or is closer to your work. Most often, the homes in these desirable neighborhoods, as you can guess, are quite expensive. Without a sizable down payment and the ability to handle large ongoing costs, it would be extremely hard to live in one of these neighborhoods as an owner. But if you're looking to rent, more doors open up. The entry and the ongoing costs are much lower. Thus, renting offers an enticing opportunity to live in a desirable neighborhood that may be financially out of reach. Or let's say that you do have the money. If you're looking at a neighborhood just because of the kids' schools, would you feel comfortable putting so much of your financial resources based on that desire alone? What happens after they've grown up and moved out? Would you still want to live in that neighborhood? You'll be at a completely different phase in life 10 years from now. Well, by renting, you can experience the lifestyle and the amenities of these neighborhoods without the long-term commitment and financial cost. And if you do come to love that neighborhood, you can always choose to buy later. Number 10 reason why you should consider renting versus buying. Segueing from our earlier point, access to amenities. Amenities such as a pool, a private park, or fitness center comes as a standard at many mid-scale to upscale apartments, condo complexes in some communities. And the nice thing is that these complexes or neighborhood management is responsible for maintaining these amenities. No need to worry about pool maintenance or cleaning. No need to get a separate gym membership. If you as a homeowner want to have regular access to these amenities, you likely need to spend thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars. Imagine the work and the cost of installing a new pool in your house. The work, the permitting, the ongoing costs are no joke. So if you value amenities but don't want to pay crazy prices, renting could be a better option compared to buying. Thank you guys for watching. In the line of talking about homes and renting, if you want to get smart about some commonly used real estate terms, please check out my video here. Until next time, all the best.